What if you are already banned? If you are already banned, it depends on how severe the ban was, how many times you went back and forth with Amazon, and how long it has been. If it has been a while and you went back and forth with Amazon a lot of times, this ban is going to be nearly impossible to get rid of, but it's not completely. It depends what you said to them. I don't have an exact answer for that. What you could do is you could go to eGrowth Partners. I have a link down there. And you could also go to somebody who's another lawyer. Like I know CJ, the Amazon seller's lawyer, he also deals with stuff like this. But from what I've heard, if you've gotten banned, you might be off for good. But there might still be a chance. If you get suspended or banned for the same reason twice, that's when you're like, nobody really gets help. But that if you've just been banned once, you might still have a chance. I accidentally sold a product I didn't have permission to sell. So my question here would be, why? What was it? How severe? Was it just retail arbitrage? If you were just doing retail arbitrage, then there might be a chance still. So here it sounds like you might not have been doing that because it's infringement on intellectual property. So if you got suspended for intellectual property infringement by going on somebody else's listing, this is completely different because Amazon takes intellectual property claims extremely serious. And if they were going back and forth, and because of that, this might be a lot more serious. So you definitely should talk to a lawyer. You know, everybody makes mistakes. As a newbie, don't worry about it. There is still hope, and I can tell you what to do. We lead into that. Is there any way to reverse a ban on Amazon? Is his next question. There is a way to reverse a ban. You talk to a professional who does that. I've never done it, but I know that it is possible, and it is a moonshot. How do you open a new seller account? Okay, so if you've been banned and you want to open a new seller account, you do the following. Essentially, what you have to do is you have to create a new business entity, and there has to be no linking to you in it. Now, this is gray, and this is not legal advice. You have to do whatever you think is fit best. Now, could you, in theory, be hired as a contract worker for a new company, and you are essentially their Amazon account manager, and essentially you're simply an operating company for a new company, okay? And if this new company was to be opened by somebody else, regardless of what percentage of equity they have, when they go and sign up, as long as if they were not connected to you by the same IP address, same cookies, literally nothing has to be new. And now you literally had a legal agreement where essentially you had some contractual agreement that you were an operating company for this. I think that legally, I don't know because I'm not going to talk about legal, but from that perspective, it does make sense that it's not that you can't use your skills and knowledge on Amazon. Maybe you just you can't be the main operating person for a company that you own to sell on Amazon. However, there could be contractual workarounds where you are essentially working for somebody else. And then so there's a contractual agreement now where you're working for somebody else, and then now you are just that operating company, and they can sell on Amazon, right? They can't just say that, okay, Amazon is going to be the future of the world, okay, for commerce. So they can't just say that you're banned from commerce, okay? Maybe they say that you can't have your own company on there, but essentially you could make up a contract where they do everything and you get all the profits, essentially. Maybe they get a small percentage. They have ownership. You could even have ownership of that. You're just not the person that formed it. There's workarounds. Talk to somebody. This is all just in theory, by the way, of what could potentially work, but don't take my word for it. Talk to a professional, and they might be able to help you. They probably can, because you can't just get banned from commerce for all of history. That would be unfair. This sounds kind of complicated, but what it would look like on a fundamental basis is somebody else owns the company. You could own percentage of it, but their name, they formed it. You could have an agreement thereafter once they've created the account that you now own 99% equity and they own 1 or something. And now you have an operating agreement that your other company makes the profits. Or that could, but maybe they could even own 100%, but you just have a operating agreement and non-compete. And then you could even have a third company. We're not going to get too complex here, but you could essentially create a new company, which would, here's one other option. You could have company over here, which now has intellectual property for a brand. Now there's another company out here which has the Amazon account, all right? And now they contractually work out to you as your company, and you have an agreement where essentially you get basically all the profits, so they get a small percentage or something. And if could be a family member, as long as they're not using the same IPs and cookies. And then now you work for this company, and this company works for this company, and all contractually. But essentially you have ownership of the IP still. And then now this is just like kind of a funnel that would legally work. And this is how the biggest corporations in the world get around taxes. They have all their IP somewhere else in the world, in some country with 0% corporate tax, and essentially their operating company will then actually lease out, do everything, but then they're like, well, we don't own anything, and we give all our profits to the people that have the IP. But none of this is actual advice, it's just all theoretical.